My husband didn't know I was a boss and told me to leave, calling me foolish. The next day Lily Brooks, a woman on the cusp of her 27th birthday, had been happily married for 5 years. Her son, Ethan, had just celebrated his 4th birthday. Initially, Lily had worked full-time after getting married, but now she balanced part-time work at the same company. Her husband, Ryan, was 30 years old, 3 years her senior. Their journey from dating to marriage had been initiated by Ryan's passionate advances, but after marriage, Lily noticed a shift in his demeanor. He seemed more domineering. Ryan had a 20-year-old sister named Chloe Brooks. Their age gap seemed to contribute to a somewhat indulgent relationship on Ryan's part. Before marriage, Lily hadn't minded Chloe's frequent visits, assuming they got along well. However, after tying the knot, she started noticing changes in Chloe's behavior. Chloe often dropped by unannounced, expecting to be served without ever bringing a token of appreciation. Ryan, instead of addressing the situation, expected Lily to accommodate her demands. Chloe acted as though Lily were invisible, addressing only Ryan with a casual "Brother, I'm here again." Despite not preparing for an additional guest, Lily ended up serving dinner to Chloe. Ryan, instead of understanding, aimed Lily aloud, insisting she should have been more considerate, despite Chloe's verbal apologies. It was evident that Chloe relished Ryan's preferential treatment. Left with leftovers, Lily prepared her own meal while Ryan and Chloe continued their chat on the sofa, leaving the dining table messy. They never acknowledged Ethan or Lily, treating them more like hired help than family. One evening, as Lily was about to take a bath with Ethan, Ryan interrupted loudly, instructing her to buy a cake for Chloe. Despite it being late, Chloe insisted on having it immediately. Ryan blamed Lily for delaying, and feeling compelled, she reluctantly headed to the cake shop with Ethan. Overhearing their conversation, Lily learned they were criticizing her for being inconsiderate and questioning the decision to marry her. Meanwhile, Ethan, though unable to grasp the words, sensed tension in their relationship. Suppressing her emotions, Lily asked him about his cake preference, and he cheerfully requested one with lots of fruits. Their trip to the cake shop was filled with discussions about cakes, momentarily pushing aside Ryan's earlier words. Ethan and Lily arrived just before closing time, fortunately finding the cake Chloe desired. They purchased 2 cakes, including the fruit-loaded one Ethan wanted. Back home, Lily served the cakes to Chloe and Ryan, then prepared Ethan's cake and headed to the dining room. The moment she placed it in front of Ethan, Chloe pointed and expressed her desire for that cake. Before Lily could react, Ryan moved Ethan's chosen cake in front of Chloe, disregarding Ethan's protests. Ryan justified his action, claiming he bought the cake with his earnings and had the right to choose for Ethan. Unable to contain her emotions any longer, Lily voiced her dissatisfaction. In response, Ryan threatened with divorce. Ethan, who had stopped crying, anxiously held Lily's hand. Then, after some thought, he said, "Mom, I also love cake with strawberries on it." "Yes, it's really delicious." He mentioned this while eating the cake initially wanted by Chloe. Feeling that Ethan was enduring too much, Lily lifted his cake plate when she saw Chloe reaching for it. She took Ethan to the next room so he could enjoy his cake in peace. Ryan apologized to Chloe, claiming he was sorry for being stingy. Despite wanting to retort, Lily held back for Ethan's sake. Watching Ethan innocently enjoy his cake was a heartwarming sight. After finishing the cake, they decided to have a late bath and sleep in Ethan's bed. The next morning, Lily discovered Chloe had already left. As she prepared breakfast, she heard Ethan crying. Shockingly, his piggy bank, a gift from her father, was broken, and the saved money was gone. Ethan, who always said goodnight to the piggy bank, was left heartbroken. When Lily questioned Ryan about it, he casually mentioned that Chloe needed some money, so she took it from the piggy bank. Holding a crying and shaking Ethan, Lily felt his pain so acutely that she cried with him. It was painful to witness Ryan prioritizing and caring for his sister more than their son. Expressing her anger and sadness, she confronted Ryan, breaking her usual silence on arguments in front of Ethan. Ryan, without a word, went to the bedroom and returned with something shocking in hand: divorce papers. Lily discovered the hidden divorce papers that Ryan had tucked away somewhere. In a sudden burst, he confronted her, shoving the papers at her before storming out of the house with a loud bang. Ethan, who had never cried over the issues with Ryan and Chloe, seemed to have reached his limit, crying since the night before. Unable to bear seeing Ethan so hurt, Lily suggested skipping daycare for the day, and he happily agreed with a loud yes, showing a faint smile. They spent the day playing and bonding, with Ethan bringing a picture book from the shelf, sitting on Lily's lap and happily remarking, "The teacher at the nursery today was Mama, right? He looks like an angel." His little heart seemed filled with patience, and Lily decided to make the day special by taking a day off from work. Despite causing potential trouble at her workplace, they kindly understood the situation and granted her a day off. In the morning, they visited the park, played hide and seek, and had fun in the sandbox and on the slide. When they returned home for lunch, Ethan appeared sleepy. Usually he napped by himself, but today he fell asleep on Lily's lap like when he was a baby. Though Lily initially thought of doing household chores during his nap, she decided that today was special. Instead, she allowed herself to be healed by his peaceful sleeping face and gentle breathing. However, her serene moment was abruptly interrupted by a noise from the entrance, indicating the front door had opened. As it wasn't Ryan's usual time to come home, Lily became suspicious. She quickly hid in the bedroom closet, clutching Ethan. A voice echoed through the house, and to her surprise, it was Chloe. Trembling with fear, Lily listened as Chloe searched for something, expressing frustration over not finding it. Chloe then made a phone call, mentioning Ryan and discussing their unsuccessful search. After hearing her lock the front door and leave, Lily put Ethan to bed and contemplated the strange events. She couldn't comprehend why Chloe had entered the house and what they were looking for. Suddenly, Ryan seemed like a stranger, and Lily felt a mix of disgust and fear towards him. Swiftly packing essentials for Ethan and herself, they headed to the station and took a train to Lily's parents' house. Fortunately, their home was nearby, just 2 stations away. Although she hadn't contacted them beforehand, Lily's parents sensed something from her expression and welcomed them without asking questions. Lily shared the entire ordeal with them, including her fear of staying at their house due to Ryan and Chloe's actions. Upon hearing Lily's mother's suggestion that Chloe might have been looking for her belongings, possibly cash cards, Lily recalled her past experience as a successful CEO in the handmade goods industry. She had entrusted the company to friends when she decided to prioritize raising her child after getting married. Although she still worked part-time and communicated with the company from home, Ryan was unaware that she was still the CEO. Lily had discovered the hidden divorce papers that Ryan had tucked away, suspecting that he thought she had a decent amount of savings. While she had mentioned to him that she still received some assistance from the company, she had deliberately kept the details about being the CEO and her savings private. This secrecy stemmed from realizing early in their marriage that Ryan struggled with managing money and tended to spend everything he earned. Ryan at first provided only $2,000 a month for food expenses and even suggested she quit her job to become a full-time housewife. However, with the financial strain of raising Ethan and only $200 for food, Lily never agreed to be a full-time housewife. Eventually, he reluctantly allowed her to work part-time, and to ensure she wouldn't consider divorce, he had her sign a post-marital property waiver through a lawyer. Since Ethan's birth, Lily had used her savings for his nursery fees and clothes, as she had only received $200 for food. She had never asked Ryan for additional funds beyond the food budget, leading him to believe she had savings. Considering Chloe's apparent need for money and Ryan's perception of Lily's financial situation, they might be searching for her cash cards. Lily had a separate savings account dedicated to Ethan, with a portion of her salary directly deposited into it each month. Despite their search, they wouldn't find the cash cards, as she always carried her valuables. However, there was still an unsettling issue. Chloe might be entering their house even when they weren't there, and Ryan might be allowing it. Following her father's advice, Lily decided to store her valuables, including the cash cards, in her parents' safe. As she pondered their need for money, Ethan approached her father, crying over his broken piggy bank and the shattered promise of saving up. Lily's father, angered by Ethan's story, vowed to call Ryan. Lily's mother suggested finding out their purpose calmly, as Ryan's mention of divorce might shift blame to them, making the divorce more favorable for him. To ascertain their purpose, Lily decided to record their conversation. Consulting a lawyer who was a friend of her father's, she returned home and began cooking dinner, keeping her phone screen down to record secretly. Ryan arrived home, surprising Lily by immediately asking about her cash cards. When she questioned him, he gave vague answers, attempting to deceive her. When she remained silent, Ryan grew agitated and demanded all her part-time money for his sister. Refusing, she explained it was for Ethan's savings. In response, he angrily pushed the signed divorce papers toward her, declaring that she was living off his money and didn't need to save for Ethan. He even uttered words implying he valued Chloe more than their son. Hearing this, Lily stopped preparing the meal, put the divorce papers in her bag, took Ethan's hand, and headed for the door. Ryan, in a loud voice, declared his serious intent for divorce, instructing her never to come back. Lily responded by stating she wouldn't return to a house where a stranger could come and go freely. After leaving, Lily received numerous messages and calls from Ryan, which she ignored, turning off her phone. She sought refuge at her parents' house, sharing the recording and divorce papers with them. Although she confessed to having no love or affection for Ryan, she expressed concern for Ethan. Her parents advised her to do as she pleased, acknowledging the potential emotional impact on Ethan if a divorce were to occur. While grappling with the decision to divorce Ryan, Ethan expressed his hunger. Lily's mother, seeing her distress, kindly made hamburgers his favorite dish. Overwhelmed with emotions, tears welled up in Lily's eyes as her mother told Ethan with a warm smile that she prepared the hamburgers so that he and Lily could visit whenever they wanted. Taking a bite, Ethan exclaimed with joy, praising Grandma's hamburgers and expressing a desire to eat them every day. Lily responded, saying it's because the hamburger contains the love she has for him. In a touching gesture, he took a big bite and offered it to her. Moved by Ethan's kindness, Lily's tears couldn't be held back, and even though she tried to stop them, they persisted. Her father, noticing Ethan's concern, reassured him that Lily's tears were of happiness, not sadness. Hearing this, Ethan, in a moment of understanding, hugged Lily, and her father's eyes turned bright red. Realizing the blessing of being with family, Lily remarked to Ethan that family is precious. Surprised, he questioned if Dad had mentioned that only Chloe was family. Her father gently confirmed it, but then asked Ethan if he wanted to live with them as family. With a laugh, Ethan happily agreed, making everyone smile. Naturally, despite contemplating divorce, the meal felt so happy that Lily finally decided to part ways with Ryan. She planned to inform Ethan about it, and even though discussing it weighed heavily on her heart, Ethan seemed to grasp the situation happily. He expressed the desire to live as a family, embracing the pet dog and calling him his younger brother, despite the dog being older. Preparations for the divorce began, starting with contacting a lawyer who was a friend of Lily's father. The next day, they formalized the contract, and Lily's father and Ethan shared comforting laughter while Lily laid in bed, reminiscing about her childhood. The following day, upon checking her smartphone, Lily found over 200 calls and messages from Ryan, showcasing his emotional instability. Exhausted, she turned off her phone, and with the lawyer's assistance, they explained the situation to her parents. Chloe had accumulated significant debt from a casino and shopping addiction, and Ryan acted as her guarantor, planning to use Lily's savings. The lawyer confirmed that the divorce papers had already been submitted, and Ryan sobbed upon realizing it was finalized. Despite expecting disagreements about child support, he signed a pledge to pay $340 to Ethan every month. In a subsequent call from Ryan, his tone lacked aggression, and he calmly admitted to financial manipulation and explained his complex feelings toward Chloe. Lily firmly asserted her decision not to reconsider and heard his faint sobbing before he wished her happiness and hung up. Remaining strong until the end, she discussed future plans with her parents and decided to stay with them until Ethan grew up. She resumed her role as company president and later learned that Ryan and Chloe had informed their parents about the divorce and debt, resulting in disownement. Today, Lily finds happiness being with her family.